No, I'm not a sunshine patriot. I'm not somebody who is skin deep when it comes to loving liberty and freedom and the republic. I understand that the globalists that dress in our own garb and speak in our dialect are the traitors within. As Cicero said, the traitor is the plague because he doesn't come openly with his banner unfurled. And that's what's happening here. The globalists have created al-Qaeda on record. They have launched al-Qaeda attacks all over the world or carried out attacks and blamed it on their assets. And now, because Obama's approval rating is plunging, the dollar is plunging, the support for the wars is flagging, they have rolled literally out of the deep freeze Osama bin Laden, who they claim they killed 9 other times. But this is the big announcement. You see, I live in the real world, and I don't just live in the real world. I got proof I live in it. Because it's not going to be illusion and delusion that saves this republic. It's going to be the cold, hard facts. Just so happens, did everybody forget? I interviewed Henry Kissinger's right-hand man from the State Department in 2002. He writes books with Tom Clancy now. His name's Steve Pachenik. And he worked with Osama bin Laden. And he said on this show he was dead and they had him on ice. And then after he did that interview, he called me up and said, please take it down. I'm getting so much heat from the CFR. They all know it, and that's the scuttlebutt in Washington. But I said, I'm sorry, sir. It's already public. Now, that was back in April of 2002, 9 years ago. 9+ years ago. 9 years and a month and change. But I didn't stop there. Oh, what did Pachenik say? They had him on ice, and we're going to roll him out at the opportune moment. Then I got 2 other White House sources. Just so happens that most of Bush's people came from Texas, right here in Austin. He'd been governor here. And turns out when you go to cocktail parties, people get drunk. Not once, but twice. They told me the exact same thing. So, folks, they think you're so dumb that they produced a fake bin Laden photo and gave it to the newspapers, and the newspapers all ran with a Photoshop the government had already put out 3 years ago of him with bullet holes in his head and his face all smashed in. And they know emotionally people needed to see the dead body. Habeas corpus goes back not just to show the body. If you're going to go to jail for something, they need evidence of it. Show the person you killed. It even predates that in a dual way that if the king said there's a bounty on this person, you had to bring the body. Bring him in, dead or alive, but bring the body. Bring the body strapped over the horse or you don't get the bounty. But you notice in this dead or alive, we don't get to see it. We saw Saddam hung. He was in a prison for a year in front of everybody. Where is the body? Where is the body? Where is the body? No, we're not being shown that. He's thrown into the ocean. And I told Kurt Nimmo last night, I said, we need a part in the article about where is his body? And conveniently, they're thrown in the ocean. Now, joining us from Pakistan, and we'll find out how close to where this reportedly happened outside one of their largest cities, is General Hamid Gul, retired Pakistani Army general, served as the Director General of Pakistani's Inner Service Intelligence. He was instrumental in the anti-Soviet support of Mujahideen in the Afghan War in 79 to 89. And he was also a veteran of a war with India as a ground soldier. And we appreciate Hamid Gul joining us to give us his take on what is unfolding here. Sir, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Eric.
General Gul, you've got the floor. What do you make of this? I see it as a complete psyop because my White House sources 9 years ago on record confirmed that he had been killed and was frozen on ice. But, what's your take on this?
Well, they had finished his hell, done away with it. Sometime in 2005, there was a cell which was meant specially to chase and track Osama bin Laden, and then it was called off. That was abolished altogether. So you are quite right. There is a great deal of suspicion, especially especially that the question of body, as you were mentioning, is a very important question. Now, we know that every single U.S. soldier carries a video camera in his helmet, and why that footage has not been shown to the world so that the world would be convinced. And one picture that I saw of Osama bin Laden, that looks very young Osama bin Laden 10 years ago was older, and this picture showed him even younger than that in comparison.
No, sir, they now admit it's a fake photo. So they already put fake photos out to the media showing the complete disregard for the public. But going back specifically, sir, as you point out, it was obviously a younger bin Laden from what he would be today. It looks like about a 1999 photo that's been photoshopped, and they admit that. But what about President Benazir Bhutto? She said that bin Laden had been killed and was dead, and then she was, of course, murdered. Break that down for us, sir.
Yeah, that is what Pervez Musharraf also repeated. If you remember, Pervez Musharraf said that he's dead. And he very authentically, he said, I know he's dead. So if one goes by that, then this seems to be just a make-believe drama in aid of Obama's campaign next year for his rerun of the presidential election. Of course, he's got all the advantage for it, but it's only a symbolic victory. As a soldier, I look at it differently, and let me explain it to you. I think Osama bin Laden, if at all he was living, he was a very, very ill man, and he would have perished in any case with passage of time. Over the 10 years, his image and his clout has receded into the history. And now with this, he putting up a fight, one helicopter brought down, and his wife stood in front of him, and his son was killed along with his two guards. Now this is going to create stuff that is fit for the folklore, for the legend making, and for the battle ballad. So I think dead Osama is going to be a terrible phenomena for you, for the Americans, and for the Western world, because this is going to enrage the Arab opinion, because Arab opinion was so badly hurt when Saddam Hussein was caught and he was dragged out of a rat hole and he was humiliated. So this was a sort of a shame that was hurled on the Arab psyche.
I was told by... and I'm just giving you this intel because I want you to be able to look into it. Steve Pachinik, who was the #2 man under Kissinger, who said he worked with bin Laden and worked with the Pakistanis against the Russians. He told me in April of 2002 that he was dead on ice and that would be rolled out whenever they felt like it. Then Albright came out on Fox News a year later and said that. And I had two other White House sources before this was even news tell me this. And these are high-powered people who were proud of this. And they're so arrogant that they would say this. And then now they put out a fake photo. They throw the body away, instead of handing it over to the nearest mosque. That was a Wahhabist in the area. That, of course, would be the Islamic tradition. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir.
Oh, yes, it's very disgraceful, really, the way they have conducted themselves. And after that, Hillary Clinton going on the TV and showing all the imperial hubris that she could put out, it is now really nauseating. Because this is a big victory, I can tell you. Osama, if at all he has been now killed, then he was a drag on the operations of Al-Qaeda. He was not helpful at all because he was absolutely laid out of the battle. So what good is it going to be? And now you are telling Taliban once again, you were on the right track a little bit, but now you are telling them, put down your weapons, this is the condition, and we will never accept this. This is only symbolic, it's only psychological boost to the American people, if at all, and as you said, that it may be a boost for Obama's campaign, but other than that, I can assure you, as far as the real matters are concerned, they are going to be worse than before, because Al-Qaeda is now spread out into Maghreb, what is North Africa, into Yemen, into Somalia, into Chad, into many other places. So Al-Qaeda is a now growing and expanding phenomena, while the American might and their arrogance is a diminishing phenomenon.
General Gould, there's so many points, so many questions I have, but just looking at this, I remember you were on 6 months ago and you said the West has lost the war for the opium, for the oil, The people are turning against him. The Pakistani government will soon order the drones out. A week ago, they said, that's it. You must have them out by mid-May. That's it. And then suddenly this happens. I think this timing of this ace in the hole they've pulled in this card game, what are the globalist powers that have hijacked the U.S. and England and are trying to destabilize your country? How are they planning to use this domestically in Pakistan? And what's the sentiment of the Pakistani army dealing with 1,000 drones bombing your country?
Very, very negative, very, very enraged, very, very angry. I can assure you people of Pakistan are sick and fed up, and I think already the limits of our tolerance has been transgressed, and I think there is going to be a lot of trouble because lines of communication run through Pakistan, of course, and if the army is not backing the line of communication, not supporting it, not protecting it, then I can assure you that it will not work out. And I think the battle is lost as far as Afghanistan is concerned. Taliban are on the surge this time. 1st of May yesterday, they said Operation Badr, which is a new operation which they are launching, the spring offensive, and I think there is no way because the battle on the battlefield it has been lost. I am prepared to sit down with any top general of America and discuss with him, how do you tell me you are going to win? We'll war game it, and I can assure you he will lose hands down. Now, the other point that you were talking about is Pakistan. If Pakistan gets destabilized as a result of this, and I fear and I suspect, and so do the people of Pakistan and the armed forces of Pakistan, that some dark impulse in America, not the whole lot of Americans, but people like Patriots or John Allen or McChrystal earlier on and Mike Mullen, I think they are out for snatching our nuclear assets. This is not going to happen. This is going to be very dangerous because a desperate Pakistan would be a terrible enemy to deal with because Pakistan is not a pushover. It's a very large nation. It has many abilities. It is self-sufficient in food. It has a very large army. It has a mujahideen, coming up. The spirit of jihad is there. It has been kindled to an extent that it cannot be now contained. And if it is fueled from outside by aggression, then it is going to become a bonfire and it is going to consume the entire region. And
well, that's my next point, sir. We have Saudi Arabia now running to Pakistan for help, cutting oil production because the West is trying to destabilize them as well. That's now confirmed, trying to manipulate the Arab Spring. I mean, we could be creeping towards a conflagration. Many analysts I interview who I respect are saying we are edging towards World War III, starting in if the globalist, the dark impulse, go ahead with this.
Yeah, that's right. I think I agree with your assessment. And it is all because India and Israel are now riding the policies of America. This is very unfortunate that American lives are being lost, American money is being squandered, all to serve somebody else's interest. Now, this is diabolical, and I think this must stop.
Bottom line, you are saying from the evidence you have, this whole bin Laden killing is a staged event.
It appears so. I cannot definitely say it, but why don't they show the body? They should have taken the body to the ground zero and then displayed it there and then handed over to the Muslims for a decent Islamic burial. That's a very simple thing that should have been done. Why has it not been done?